All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about the process of anaerobic respiration as well as fermentation that goes along with it. So just as a broad overview, let's remember that all living things need to take glucose and convert it into ATP. And all living things start with the process of glycolysis to do that. Now, we know that glycolysis is when we take glucose and we break it down into three things: pyruvate, NAD, and ATP. Now, today what we're really going to be focused on is what happens if there is no mitochondria and what happens if there is no oxygen available in order to move on. If that takes place, we're going to have a process called fermentation takes place. Now, there's two types of fermentation. We have alcoholic and we have lactic acid fermentation. And believe it or not, you're able to do this. You're able to do fermentation if you have to. So if you're working out and sprinting or lifting weights, your body won't be able to get enough oxygen to its muscles, and it will revert to lactic acid fermentation. And the whole point of doing fermentation is to regenerate this NAD+. Glycolysis cannot run without NAD+. All right. So your body will do this when it doesn't have oxygen, and it's a good source of really quick energy. Okay. Now, other organisms have to always do this, like prokaryotes, like a bacteria, because they're simple and they don't have a mitochondria. So they always do fermentation in order to get their ATP. Let's take a look further into this. Let's just remember a little bit about glycolysis here. So if we're taking a look at glycolysis, remember, glycolysis needs glucose and it needs NAD+ in order to work. If we don't have NAD+, it's not going to work. So let's take a look here. Here's glycolysis taking place. It takes in glucose, NAD+, and 2 ATP to work, and it's going to spit out pyruvate and NAD. Okay. Now, an organism has a problem because if this keeps happening, glycolysis keeps happening, it's going to run out of NAD+. So what it's going to do is called a process of fermentation. One type is called lactic acid fermentation, where it's going to take the pyruvate and the NAD and convert them into lactate and NAD+. The NAD+ can then go back up and be used in glycolysis again. So fermentation kind of regenerates the NAD+ and has a byproduct, in this case, of lactate, which is like lactic acid. This is what builds up in your muscles and makes your muscles hurt after you work out. Another one that organisms do, another type of fermentation, is called alcoholic, and it's a similar idea. The whole point of it is to get NAD+. So it takes the pyruvate and it creates carbon dioxide, ethyl alcohol, as well as the NAD+, which can then go back up and be used for glycolysis again. So the things that all fermentation has in common is that they always regenerate the NAD+ that can be used in glycolysis again. Now, in general, we call this whole thing anaerobic respiration. And it's called anaerobic respiration because it does not require any oxygen. So aerobic means oxygen, and means without. So this whole process here, glycolysis in the fermentation, is considered to be anaerobic respiration. And once again, the whole point of it is to regenerate that NAD+ so that glycolysis can keep going. Okay. Now, this energy is not enough energy for large multicellular eukaryotes like you and me. It's just not enough. We have to do other things to get our energy. But for quick bursts of energy, anaerobic respiration works. Let's talk about advantages of anaerobic respiration. There are two big advantages. Number one, as we said, it provides that really quick, immediate energy that the organism or the cell could need. When your muscle cells are really working hard and they need some quick energy, they do anaerobic respiration. It's also great for organisms that don't have oxygen around them in their environment because it does not require any oxygen. So those are the two key advantages of using anaerobic respiration. All right, so if you're confused about any of those ideas with anaerobic respiration or the ideas of the different types of fermentation, make sure that you've rewatched this video and go back over them. If you didn't understand glycolysis, there's a video on glycolysis. Make sure you watch that one first and then come back to this video and watch it again.